All right, thank you for joining us. This is Big Majority, and we've got a great presentation for you today. The power of thought leadership. This is going to be one of the most important strategies that you're going to use to differentiate yourself as a person, as a brand, as a business. It's going to help you attract a high ticket clientele. Okay, that means more revenue, more dollars in your business. It means that you're going to have customers coming to you, clients coming to you, instead of you having to push towards them and pursue them. Okay, it's a different way of thinking. It sometimes it takes time and sometimes it doesn't, depending upon how passionate, how thoughtful, how motivated you are to making this an integral part of your business model. Okay, the power of thought leadership is what we're going to discuss today. This is Big Majority. Thank you for joining us. Let's jump right in. What is thought leadership? Okay, let's get very specific. Thought leadership means you are in front of the pack in your industry, in your niche, in your marketing, in terms of what is providing the most valuable value for your customers and for that market. Okay, it's about a different experience than what everyone else is providing. Okay, it's information, it's knowledge, it's data, it's metrics, it's connections, it's just some sort of value that you're able to promote. Okay, that everyone knows you for. Okay, it's something that is actionable. It's something that creates followers for you, your brand, your business, you as an individual, for your clients. It's something that is motivated by content. Okay, it's something that you can use over time to help you sell more, to help you close more, but also to help you attract more into your experience as a business owner, as a brand, as an entrepreneur. So, thought leadership is a very powerful aspect of your business if you know how to achieve it. Okay, and that's what we're going to discuss today. It really allows you to increase your credibility factor. And the number one impact on credibility is trust. How much do your customers, how much do your colleagues, how much do your competitors trust your opinions? And that's where thought leadership comes in. It shows you know something they don't. And even if they know it, it shows that you're talking about it first. Or at least you're in the mix. You're part of the conversation. You're someone who has a say on what happens, on what matters. Okay? It's when your customers, your clients can see that you are someone who matters in your industry. It's a completely different experience versus being an unknown, being someone who may not have any case studies or client reference points or testimonials to lean on. Having thought leadership credibility isn't necessarily about hands on experience. It can also be about knowing what you know, knowing the solution, knowing the answer, being able to walk your client from A to Z based on best practices, based on the research, the knowledge, the hands on experience you have gained. Because a lot of things in business are applicable in different industries. That's something that a lot of people don't realize. You can take something from the automotive industry and figure out a way to integrate it into the finance industry because there's something about the models that have consistency, and that's where being a thought leader comes in because you can bridge those knowledge gaps. You can show those connections. You can be the person to propagate certain ways of doing things that no one has ever thought of before. Or you can have an opinion on things that aren't working. That's really what thought leadership is, and that's what builds trust and credibility. It's showing consistency that you are someone who is in the know. And that's a completely different experience. Okay? Another way of thinking about it is providing actionable insights. Something that someone can use today. Even if you don't have any experience. Well, I know something that can help you today. Here it is. Go ahead and try it. If you like it and it works, come back for more. I mean, that's almost instant credibility there, right off the bat. But thought leadership really gives you that through third-party validation, and that's when other people say that you are someone who can be trusted. It's not just you saying it, it's other people in the industry saying it and validating your thoughts and validating your best practices and your solutions and your offerings and your way of doing things. It's them saying, you know what, that is something that we should look at. And these are all signals, not noise. And noise versus signals is another aspect of thought leadership, because right now there's a lot of people creating content, a lot of people sharing and suggesting things and getting on the path of becoming a thought leadership by trying to differentiate themselves in the market by telling a story of trying to help be add value. And to be honest, a lot of people are just adding to the noise. Okay, and by noise it means that nothing is really useful. It's just fluff. It's just trying to get in front of your face. But the signal is something that can really stimulate a difference in your business, in your brand, in your mission. It's something that is actionable. It's kind of the difference between news that follows a model of if it bleeds, it leads, right? That basically means that if it's about um, violence, death, or sex, it's something that people are going to find interesting. Versus giving you news that you can actually use, it's giving you information that you can say, "Oh, thanks for letting me know. I'm going to do that today. Makes my life easier." That's a signal, okay? And those are things that thought leaders provide in a consistent way across the industry, not just for themselves, their business, their customers, but also for their colleagues and any other thought leaders in the industry, by having conversations around certain subject matters and leading the edge on new ways of doing business. Those are signals, and that's what you want for yourself. And there's a very interesting path to get there, right? I mean, you could talk to a lot of people, and they're all tell you a different way of going about becoming a thought leader. And if you talk to somebody that it took them 20 years, they're going to tell you it took them 20 years. And it's going to take you 20 years. If you talk to someone and it took them 5 years, they're going to tell you it's going to take you 5 years, but maybe longer, because they think that they can do it better than you. So that's going to be that. So really, everyone's going to have their own answer about what the path really is. But really, it's about you. It's about, do you know yourself? Do you know your own strengths and weaknesses? You know? But more importantly, for your business, for your brand, it's also about, do you know thy niche? It's what I call it. It's about, do you know your market? Do you know your customers? Do you know what keeps them awake at night, their pain points? Do you know where the limits or the edge of their understanding is? And can you take them over the edge to take a step forward in their business and give them just a little bit of information, or maybe a lot of value that they can apply to convey that you are someone who knows what they're doing? It's about understanding the industry, and this is where I talk about industry audits and personal audits. It's about knowing what's going on, the climate. It's about the moving parts, what's going on in different avenues of your industry, and how do you fit in as a brand, a business, or an individual. So you have to look at where all those things overlay and cross each other. And that starts with knowing yourself and knowing your market, but also knowing the why. Why do you want to become a thought leader? What do you hope that it's going to do for you? I know what it can do for you, but what do you hope it's going to do for your business? Because there might be another way of getting there. All right, this might not be the right path for you. It might be an extreme challenge based on your past experiences and your particular business, or it might be something that could really change your business and catapult you to success and where you want to be. One foundational element of thought leadership, no matter what industry you are in and what you're trying to achieve, is differentiation. You cannot be a thought leader and think the same things as everyone else. That's just not going to happen. And with that comes the strategy of becoming a thought leader. You have to have a strong belief. You have to have an opinion. You have to be polarizing to a certain extent. Because otherwise, if you're not polarizing and everyone just agrees with you, you're probably not cutting edge. You're going to have some people disagreeing with you. But at the end of the day, you have to have one thing that you can focus on and leave people with. It's kind of like the thing that you're leading with through all of your conversations and your articles or whatever you're using to become a thought leader. This is something that's putting you in a singular lane to help you differentiate yourself, because people can rely on you to have this certain opinion. And it's not necessarily an ideology that you're creating for yourself. It's just something that people can remember you by. It's, if you want to think about it, yes, it is your brand. You want to have a certain area that you're known for knowing the most about, or that you always have a strong opinion about, or that you're always able to add relevant value to. And when we talk about thought leadership in today's era, the quickest way obviously is going to be the developing content. But when I talk about the one thing, if you can hone your story or your area of expertise down to a few keywords that you are constantly utilizing to a certain extent in all of your conversations and your messaging, then that is an extremely powerful strategy. Why? Because of search engine optimization, which we'll get to in a little bit, but also because it's easier for people to remember. If you want to be a thought leader on strategy, then always use the word strategy. I mean, obviously you don't want to go overkill, but it's just like advertising. You usually have to hear things at least 7 times, or see an ad at least 7 times before it has an effect on you. That's been the best practices for the past 40, 50 years. So to achieve your mission success, you really want to understand what you're trying to do, how you're trying to get there, and how can you really narrow down what you want to be and where you want to play as a thought leader. And it sounds counterintuitive, but the narrower your focus is as a thought leader, and how you select the keywords that appear in your messages, and how closely they align to what you deem as your mission in your business, the more successful you'll be. So let's take a step further in this and talk about content versus context. And I love this imagery right here, right? You have the same statue from two different angles, and it changes the experience. So on the left, you have an individual who's doing a handstand. They look pretty pleased about it. They could be on the roof top of a 13-story building or a 50-story building. We have no idea, but they look pretty pleasant about it, like they have no problems about it. And you look to the right side, and it looks like they're falling off a building, which is the complete opposite. But it's the same individual. And that's really the difference between content versus context. Okay, anyone can churn out content. Anyone can create an article, a blog post, do a social media post, write an ebook, do a white paper, do an infographic, do a video. It's so easy to create content. It's so easy to find information and data and just regurgitate it. But the difference really lies in the context that you're providing the content. That's way more beneficial. And the context and the content really work together. Okay, you can't have one without the other. And that's usually what you see. So what you want to do is you want to understand the nature of your market. You want to understand the nature of your clients and your audience and what their experience is like day to day, and where they go to consume their content. And you want to be able to present yourself in that experience in a way that is a step above. It's a different experience. It's something that adds more value in the now, not necessarily in the future. Although you want to give something that's actionable, and what I mean by that is investments are something that you can put. Let's say I put a dollar in the bank. Obviously interest rates, making money, but I put some money in the bank. I put $10,000 in the bank. It accrues interest over time or buy a bond or a stock, and obviously I'm going to make money over time on the interest. That's an investment. That's kind of what you want to think about. But you also want to think about creating things that can add value today. So, and even if that means what steps, because taking that step is also a form of value. It's giving them something to do. It's giving them a way of taking a step forward today. Even though they may not get the return on their investment yet, they're one step closer. And that's one step closer than they were before they received your messaging, your content, before you as a thought leader shared your wisdom. So with that, I want to say one more thing about the keywords. Words matter. I mean, how you decide to frame your positioning as a thought leader and the conversations and things you decide to talk about, those will define your market. And they will almost be like a lighthouse bringing the clients and the prospects to you, attracting them to you. Because just think, you put something in Google, you put something in Bing, I don't know who uses Bing, but you put something in Bing, Yahoo, and you're looking for something. Maybe you're looking for an article or product, and maybe a blog comes up, maybe a news article comes up. And when you're seeing people talk about certain topics, you're seeing them talk about the same thing. You know, there's a guy named Neil Patel, you may have heard of him. He's the guy for SEO. He's the guy for content marketing on a grand scale. Okay, he's got that thing down packed. He's been doing SEO for ages. Okay, if you want SEO, don't come to Big Majority. Go to Neil Patel. All right, that's how strong it is and how important it is, because it works on a macro level and a micro level. So no matter what you do, take careful account of the words that you use, because if you're using different types of keywords all the time, you're not really getting the bang for your buck. But if you decide to focus and use certain phrases and words in your communications as an umbrella, and I don't want you to think that I'm saying say the same thing over again. What I'm saying is have a specific theme that you're going after consistently. If it's productivity, it's productivity. If it's becoming a leader, it's becoming a leader. And that's what you want to do as a thought leader, is carve up your audience, build your community, build your following, build your level of expertise, and that's how you will become known and start to attract clients, and then be able to leverage those pieces of content as opportunities to sell by having a massive impact on your credibility factor. This is really a different way of looking at setting up your business. It hasn't always been so easy. Okay, if you're thinking about it, there was a point in time where it was extremely hard to get in the news. I mean, newspapers were only printed. You have your local media stations, and paid advertising were run by huge advertising agencies. But now, anyone can buy an ad on Facebook. Just about anyone can get into a local newspaper or possibly on a local news station. It's really not that challenging if you know exactly the steps to follow. And this could be a massive advantage over the competition for you, is becoming a thought leader. It is way easier than climbing this mountain, I promise you, okay? So go ahead and schedule your free strategy session today, and we'll go over exactly how becoming a thought leader can benefit your business and the steps to get you there. As always, lead with authority. Thanks so much for joining us. This is Big Majority. Have a good evening.